I'm going to be speedrunning the Warden on a random seed. I'm providing commentary after the recording because, wow, does it take a long time to find a good seed. As soon as the world loads, I open up the F3 menu, then start heading to the nearest tree, and notice immediately that this is a great seed to speedrun because there's almost certainly a deep dark biome nearby. There's a really easy way to determine this. If you look at the multi-noise section of the F3 menu, you'll notice a C. This C stands for continentalness, and it's followed by a decimal. This decimal is the continentalness value and is used to place the deep dark. Between 0.6 and 0.8, the deep dark will generate sparsely. But if you can get above 0.8, you'll have a really high chance of finding a large deep dark biome. Now, back to the speedrun. I've gathered the 3 logs I've needed, but by looking at the continentalness values, I've realized I've traveled in the wrong direction, so I turn around and start heading back. Along the way, I'm looking for cave entrances, because, unsurprisingly, the deep dark, a cave biome, only generates in caves. I did manage to pass a few stone enclaves, but unfortunately, those didn't actually go anywhere, so I continue going back, trying to maximize my continentalness value to increase my chances of finding the deep dark. Here, I make a pretty important discovery. A nice, wide cave that goes pretty far down. The only slight issue with this cave is that there's no easy way down, as there's no waterfalls or water at the bottom. But what I can see from here is that there's skulk at the bottom of the cave. I then miscalculate this jump and take a bit of damage, but health doesn't really matter when the Warden can one-shot you. Having no way to get further down the cave, I start crafting my tools. First I make the crafting bench, then a wooden pickaxe, and using that wooden pickaxe, I get some cobblestone to make a stone pickaxe, and then a stone sword. I go with the stone pickaxe just to dig down slightly faster, and I opt to go with the stone sword instead of a stone axe, because a stone sword does slightly more damage per second than a stone axe, and that does make a second or two difference when you're fighting a 500 health Warden. So I mine down the side of the chasm to get to the skulk. However, I do notice that this stone pillar I'm on kind of abruptly ends with a drop, so just right before then, I use the blocks that I've mined to start staircasing down. I could have probably gone a little bit faster here, but the crushing weight of knowing with one small misstep I'll end up falling to my death kind of made me err on the side of caution. With just a few blocks to go before I can get onto the cave ledge, I do once again make a misstep and take half a heart of damage, but like I said before, a little bit of damage isn't too bad. I continue scaling down the side of the cavern, but now I've got my end goal, a Skulk Shrieker, in sight. I opt to bridge across this chasm here, which admittedly is a misplay, because if I had gone around, I could have just jumped. With only 1 cobblestone left, I jump here, because I'm gonna need 2 blocks later. Now comes the long, time-consuming process of trying to summon the Warden. You see, in order to summon the Warden, you need 3 activations of any Skulk Shrieker. The problem though, is that Skulk Shriekers have a universal cooldown after being activated of 7 seconds, meaning this takes over 21 seconds before you can finally summon the Warden. So now here, with our 3rd Skulk Shrieker activation, we can finally start the Warden fight, which is a bit anticlimactic. Yeah, all I do is pillar up 2 blocks, get the Warden's attention, and then start whacking him with my sword. The reason I decided to pillar up, instead of, say, digging into a wall, is so I can get some critical hits in. This allows me to speed up the Warden fight. But, yeah, a stone sword that only does 5 damage per hit, 7.5 with critical hits, still takes a very long time to kill the 500 health Warden. I am well aware that developer King B-Dogs has said that easily killing the Warden like this will be fixed in a future snapshot, but it's not fixed now, and I'm sure I'll be able to find a new way to kill the Warden then, so that'll be a new speedrunning challenge for later. But until then, here is the Slain Warden. 4 minutes and 27 seconds. Not a bad time. I'll just reconfirm my Warden kill by showing it in statistics, and now let me just show you the seed of this run. If you want to get to the Deep Dark fast, here's the seed for you. Now, admittedly, after my run, I can definitely see that there was a faster way of doing this. See, that's the birch tree I chopped down all the way down there. If I had just turned to my left, I would have seen a much closer oak tree. And once more, at the bottom of this oak tree is a cave that goes all the way down to the deep dark. And this cave I could have actually walked down. And right at the bottom, down here, is a Skulk Shrieker that I could have used to summon the Warden. So yeah, this would have been a faster way of doing things. But hey, it's kind of hard to get the perfect run when you're speedrunning the 100th something world that you've never seen before. Alright, with everything discussed about this one speedrun, I'll just give you a taste of what it took to get here. Here are my personal speedrunning statistics on killing the Warden. And the first statistic is for the number of Wardens I killed, which might be a bit surprising because it's actually 2. I did have a successful speedrun before this, though it was a little bit too slow for my liking. Next up is the number of Wardens I summoned, which is 4. While the Warden itself never actually killed me, I did have the displeasure of dying first to a zombie, and then to a creeper. Now, these numbers are going to start getting big. Next up is for the number of times I managed to make it to Skulk, which is 11. Usually, I didn't end up summoning the Warden because most of the time, these Skulk patches were small and I never managed to find a Skulk Shrieker, though one time was because a zombie pushed me to my death. Then we have the number of times I managed to make it to the Deep Dark. 29. Yeah, a lot of the times I got to the Deep Dark, I just couldn't find any Skulk. Sometimes because there was none in the small caves I found, and some others is because I dug down there since I couldn't find any good cave entrances, and I just never managed to find a cave down there. My second and final statistic for this speedrun is the number of times I managed to find the right continentalness value to be ensured that there's a Deep Dark below me. For the sake of simplicity, I'll only include the times the continentalness was 0.7 or above. Though, just take note, I did find the Deep Dark 3 times when it was slightly below that. And that number is 36. Most of the times I reached the right continentalness value, I was able to find the Deep Dark. Though there were a few times that I either fell to my death, was shot to death by a skeleton, or in the low 0.7 range, I never found the Deep Dark. And this last statistic is for the total number of worlds I generated. And that's 317. Yeah, this took a long time. This just goes to show how rare the Deep Dark is in the first experimental snapshot of 1.19. But that's all I've got for now, so thank you all for watching, and goodbye.